The news of Brandin Cooks heading out of LA going to the Houston Texans. Let's take a look back how the Patriots and Rams have moved on from Super Bowl 53, which seems like a lifetime ago, but was actually only last year. So the Patriots played the Rams and beat them 13-3 on February 3rd, 2019. Obviously a defensive battle. Patriots just had the one or two good drives, really that one drive to Gronk at the end to put them over the edge. Brady and Goff both, not great performances, both around 50 to 60% completion percentages, under 275 yards. Neither had a touchdown. Patriots ran the ball a little bit better that day. Sony Michel capped off an excellent 2018 to 2019 postseason run with 94 yards. Rex Burkhead helped out. The Rams obviously did not have a good rushing game that day. Todd Gurley was having those injuries at that point. The knee was acting up. C.J. Anderson had some earlier success in December, January, but did not have the Super Bowl success. The notable thing to me in the receivers is a lot of how we've ended up here. For the Rams, it was a true receiver show. I think Cooper Kupp was hurt at this time, so Brandin Cooks and Robert Woods were the go-to receivers. 10 targets for Woods, 13 targets for Cooks. So number one type guys. Josh Reynolds did have 7 targets, but obviously Cooks and Woods were the main weapons that day. And for the Patriots, it was Gronk and Edelman, and that was it. They had 16 catches of Brady's 21, so the other receivers only had 5. Chris Hogan notably had 6 targets and 0 receptions, and that really foreshadowed where the Patriots were this year. Brady only trusted his main guys, his main guy really, Edelman. You had James White sprinkled in there this season, but with no Gronk, there was just a lack of trust, and that really bit the Patriots this season. But so how did these teams move on after this? I thought coming into this, you'd say, oh, they made some mistakes that offseason, and then quickly a year later, the Rams are in the situation they are now of their trading Brandin Cooks. To me, they really screwed up before this. They actually screwed up the offseason before this, the 2018 going to 2019 offseason. You can kind of understand why when you look at it this way. We'll get to the mistakes in a second, but things were bad. The Patriots played the Rams in 2016, I believe. It was an absolute joke of the game. The Rams went 4-12, but they were a terrible team. 32nd in offense. They had a good defense, especially considering how bad their offense was with 23rd in points allowed. But their offense was atrocious. They couldn't do anything. So they went from 32nd in offensive points scored to first the following year. Absolute explosion. The bottom of the screen is their receiving yards that season. They were very good. They scored a lot of points, but they even wanted to add on a little bit more to that. They wanted to get a little bit better, which led to them trading for Brandin Cooks. And I think that's where the mistake came for the Rams, excuse me. Let's take a look now at the starters from that game and who is still in the teams and who's gone. The Patriots have 15 guys remaining on the roster, from the starters. And the Rams have 11, with 11 gone. Both teams really went the compensation comp pick route, excuse me. Guys like Trent Brown, Trey Flowers for the Patriots, and Ndamukong Suh and others for the Rams. They let them go in order to get the comp picks back. To me, the big thing is who signed and who didn't sign. We'll get into a little bit more of it in a second, but Rob Gronkowski obviously retired after this game eventually, and Brady obviously gone after a $23 million contract extension. So those guys will count for a total of $15.5 million in dead cap. Gronk's was last season, Brady's is this season. To me, it's Gurley and Cooks is the real disaster here. Of their north of $30 million in dead cap, so it's a $15 million dead cap difference, which is really going to hurt the Rams compared to the Patriots that will not be as hurt. So as I said, to me, it's really the offseason before the Super Bowl that hurts the Rams in the long run. So this is the 2018 going to 2019, and then 2019 going to 2020 off seasons, and then a little bit of the 2020 off season as well. This is the extensions, so just guys that were on the team that got extended. The Rams just some absolutely monster contracts, and that's what's going to hurt them compared to the Patriots that have some big contracts. Shaq Mason 5 for 45, Devin McCourty 2 for 23. Brady's 1 year, $23 million extension. Edelman's 2 for 15. These aren't, just nothings. These aren't, $2-3 million. Michael Bennett's probably actually the worst one, the 2 for $16.75 million. But the Rams had 4 contracts that were more than any of the Patriots. Shaq Mason's is the biggest at 5 for $45, versus Cooks was 5 for $80, Gurley was 4 for nearly $60, Donald 6 for $135, and then Jared Goff 4 for $134. That to me shows kind of the philosophical difference between the Patriots and the Rams of what they were willing to do. Part of it is the Rams just have younger, more talented guys. I mean, Julian Edelman's in his 30s. He's not getting a $60 million contract extension at this point. Devin McCourty in his 30s. He's not getting a $40 million contract extension. So the Rams had to go pay younger players. The problem is, to me, they paid them too much and they paid the wrong ones. Cooks and Gurley, both off the rosters 2 years later, signed monster deals. These, to me, also, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, don't look now, because that looks a lot similar to what you just did to Zeke Elliott and Amari Cooper. I mean, Cooper went 5 for $100, so even a bigger deal than what Cooks had, and I believe Zeke's is north of where Gurley's was. So to me, that's just a philosophical difference that's going to leave the Rams behind the 8 ball that they could have been able to build out of. The problem to me that's even worse is the trades that have happened after that. And this is where the Patriots are in a similar boat. The Patriots also have not done a great job of trading. So this is from the last year. The Rams made a couple trades, notably trading away Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib, and then notably they took on Jalen Ramsey. And this is where they've screwed up. The Jalen Ramsey trade, it's a different story to me. He's a top-end talent. You trade a couple first-round picks for it. Not great. I wouldn't do it. But on its own, it's fine. The problem is the other stuff they've done in combination with that. Notably, to me, the Peters and the Cooks trades. So the Rams obviously didn't win a Super Bowl and made 2 trades where they get net negative value. Peters, they traded a second-round pick for and a fourth-round pick back in 2018, and then last season they traded him for a 5th-round pick. So you lose that second-round pick, you lose that 4th-round pick. Yes, you get a year of service from Peters. You don't sign him to a huge contract, so that's good, but you're net negative. You've traded away more assets than you've gotten back, which is the opposite of what the Patriots do. Look what the Patriots did with Brandin Cooks. They traded the first round from him to the Saints in 2017. They then trade him to the Rams in 2018 for a first-round pick. So they get that first-round pick back, and a year of service. So, net equal to net positive, you get that year of service. Versus the Rams, they trade that first-round pick for him, and they get back a second-round pick, which is the 57th pick in this year's draft, according to John McClain. You're net negative. You're trying to build assets, you're trying to be net positive, and that's not what they did here. Now, I will say the Patriots are not exactly shining examples of this either. They traded for Michael Bennett, which the 5th-round pick, not that big of a deal. The $16.75 million extension, big deal. That's an issue. We'll show the dead cap hit later of what that is. And then really the Antonio Brown and Mohamed Sanu are the other 2 real screw-ups to the Patriots, which it's hard. Obviously, Brady did not like N'Keal Harry and Jacoby Myers. He wanted more trusted assets. You need to go get veteran receivers. Gronk was gone. You needed to try and instill some sort of assets. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Sanu got hurt after the first game with the Patriots, so you lose that second-round pick, and then Antonio Brown, well, yeah, he went off the rails, as you'd expect. So that's why the Patriots are not set up well moving forward, but the Rams are set up worse. Let's take a look at the dead cap hits for the 2 teams. This is per Spotrac. The Brandin Cooks deal still sounds like it's getting worked out a little bit at the time of this recording. Somewhere around a $21 million dead cap hit this season. Yeah, that's pretty terrible. That is atrocious. Gurley just south of $18 million. So according to the Spotrac guy, they'll be north of $33 million in dead cap hit. I mean, basically just wash out the 2019 season, or 2020 season, because you just can't play when you're that much of a dead cap hit on your books. The Patriots, though, to me, they're not much better. So the Rams, $24 million to $35 million at the time of this recording. Patriots at $24 million. I mean, they're right there with them. Brady's $13.5 million dead cap hit. Antonio Brown's $4.5 million. Michael Bennett, That's why I said kind of the worst one. He's third on this list with $2 million. And then Gostkowski got released. Harmon traded, a second-round bust, and Duke Dawson traded to start last season. Just not set up well. Too many misses on the trades for both teams, and then some questionable re-signings with Michael Bennett and maybe Brady. I don't know how I feel about the Brady one now. I think you can go both ways on that one. So questionable team building from both sides. To me, though, the Patriots have more flexibility moving forward, and that's where the Rams are looking to get to. But at the end of the day, to me, it's still the NFL is led by quarterbacks, and one thing matters, and that's whether you believe in Jared Goff or the Patriots situation. And that, to me, it's a little bit of a dichotomy. Jared Goff, obviously, 1 of 1 first-round pick, first overall. Has he shown the ability to play in the NFL? I mean, he has an NFL arm, just whether he can diagnose plays and make the right read consistently, that's a different story. The question to me, or the answer, is he's the Rams' choice at this point. I mean, they just locked him up again, just had a guaranteed salary, guaranteed in the last couple of weeks, I believe. So he's their guy. They signed him to a 4-year, $134 million contract extension. He's their guy. Versus the Patriots don't have a guy, which is terrible. And you're not going to win a Super Bowl if you don't have a guy at quarterback, period. I know Nick Foles did what Nick Foles did, but I don't believe that you can't, that you're going to succeed with a average to below average quarterback. But the Patriots at least don't have anyone in the books that's taken up all this room. The Rams are stuck with this guy. If this guy doesn't get better, the Rams don't get any better, and they're not going to find their way out of this even after trading Cooks and getting rid of Gurley. Versus the Patriots potentially can still keep shooting their shot, whether it's with Jordan Love, whether they kick the can down the road another year, we will see. But that, to me, is the big question of ultimately whether this team building will be successful or not successful. To me, though, the Patriots have more flexibility, though, which is why they've done a better job compared to the Rams that have gone all in and unfortunately lost. Thank you. If you liked the video, please leave a like and comment on anything you agreed or disagreed with, and subscribe if you'd like to see our future videos.